in a very lame, if I, talk about it, I feel it's just like a garden, एक बगीचा.
So isolation, I think, is the first sign which...
Have you listened about stress eating? You all may have seen Netflix. इतने सारे episodes होते हैं या series हैं, इतने सारे होते हैं कि हम confuse हो जाते हैं.
Exactly.
कौन सा देखे, and I also have felt that I end up watching nothing.
Or maybe something I've already watched.
Having too many options is also a problem.
That's what I'm talking about. Dating.
That when we have spoiled for choices written here. Okay.
True that. ये आप cut कर देना. Spoiled for choices.
Today we have the privilege of hosting Ms. Tripti Sharma, who is a true force in the mental health world. Ma'am is a counseling psychologist, a parenting guru, a relationship advice, and an expressive art therapist. Ma'am has been associated with Max Hospitals and big global giants such as Wipro and Tata, where she has tackled critical mental health. We welcome Ma'am.
Thank you so much for being here. I really feeling privileged to be here with Phlea and all of you. Thank you so
And
much.
same for us.
Pleasure is all ours.
Yeah, we are glad that you're part of this podcast with us because you bring a lot of value to this.
Exactly. I mean,
My pleasure.
So I guess we're all ready for a very insightful conversation
Yeah.
and see how Ma'am's vision can change ours and our viewers' way of the world.
Yep, of course.
So, Ma'am, our very first question is, what exactly is mental well-being
Mhm.
according to you? And please teach us as you would teach a layman.
So obviously we have been talking about mental health, since long, and so much of awareness is going on the platforms everywhere, out in media. And so what I feel mental well-being is all about how we, work on connection and balance. So if I talk about balance, how you are balanced within yourself and how you are connecting within the surroundings, within, how you're belonging with people, how you're interacting with them, communicating with them, it has a power. And what I can say is our mind is like a seesaw. One side there are emotions, other sides we have a lot of thoughts going, and how we are able to balance it up and make everything in a calm state. Because जब भी कोई emotion evoke होते हैं, at times, whenever a thought comes, there is a reaction to the thoughts, and if we are not able to balance it up, there is a chaos. So what I feel mental well-being is all about how we are able to balance it through connection to making it worthwhile in our surroundings. So I feel mental well-being is not about just being happy every other time. It's all about having that ups and downs and being resilient to overcome that. That's what I feel all about mental well-being. And if in a very lame, if I talk about it, I feel it's just like a garden, एक बगीचा, where we are planting and we are watering our plants. At times we need to remove those plants which are not to be there. We call them weeds.
Yeah.
And then we thrive to beautify it through the environment, through sunlight. It's growing. So I feel like that is mental well-being.
Okay. And Ma'am, how do we recognize when someone is in need of a professional mental health support?
Mm-hmm. So I feel like if consistently you have been feeling low since a long period of time, and maybe more than 6 months of time duration, and you have been feeling constantly low, the routine has been, there's a lack of routine, you are not having any kind of fulfillment in your life, the pleasurable activities you have been doing, वो अब आप नहीं कर रहे हो, then there is something, a gap. And if that has been consistent in your lifestyle and you are struggling, you want to be alone, are not interacting with people, there's a lot of change, and you feel like there's a disconnect with the whole world, and you don't want to touch up to the reality that I'm feeling low. Then maybe that is the time you really need help. Maybe seek a professional help or somewhere where you feel heard, seen, or you can connect.
So isolation, I think, is the first sign which,
True.
like, you should not, for one, you should look into it, that why are you, like, being comfortable with being alone?
True. So people have, in this at this time I talk about social media also. If I, take and connect with it, people have been living in isolation. They don't want to talk, interact. And that's why these, mental health concerns has increased a lot. We are not connecting one to one or face to face. It's very less. जो पहले होता था, अब नहीं है. And I can say media has a lot of good effects also, bad effects also. So isolation is the one of the challenge that we have been facing. Be it from child, be it for partners, be it for adult or old age, everyone is suffering.
So, ma'am, are there any signs which we can identify whether we are going through something, or like is something wrong with me? Are there any initial signs which we can try to get hold of?
Yeah, of course, there are. And at times, if we are aware of those signs, maybe we can also self diagnose ourselves, and maybe if something is happening in our society. Yeah. So, number one thing that I feel that is more prominent is at times there's a lack of sleep. At times, people are sleeping more. Because what happens when it's a basic form of coping mechanism? Yeah, let's sleep. We'll get over every kind of stress or depression, whatever we are suffering from. So sleep is the biggest thing that we feel like, but it's the biggest sign also that you can see in people that may be suffering. Yeah. And people at times have more, they eat more. At times they eat very less. They are not willing to do that. At times because of stress. Have you listened about stress eating?
Yeah, of course.
People have
I've
Yeah.
done stress eating.
Me too. I think all of us have been
True.
doing
They
that.
said that.
Yeah.
There have been people having cravings of sweet. Why they have that? Because at that time sweet have a they gives us a good hormone, that is dopamine at times, and we feel more happy. But then it's just temporary thing.
Yeah.
वो कब बस temporary अभी अभी के लिए होता है. That's not a permanent solution that we can get. And then you are feeling that you have been saying wrong things to yourselves. You have been criticizing yourself. There's no energy, feeling lethargic, fatigueness is there for a long period of time, or you're not able to wake up, you're feeling very tired many a times. And there can be when people want to communicate, even if you want to take a phone, or maybe someone is calling you, you're feeling anxious. There's anxiety that should I take this call or not, even if that's one of your friend.
Yeah.
So at times they can be minor, they can be major also. So anxiousness is there, fearfulness is there. You are fearing about a lot, and any sign can be related also to a past trauma. So it can be anything that you may be suffering from. So these can be certain signs which you must look for if maybe you are feeling this void in your own head.
So, ma'am, basically, in an ideal scenario, I think peers would be the best ones to maybe help each other out, right? In scenarios like this. But are there any signs which, peers can identify among themselves for someone who's suffering from mental illness and might not be telling each other? Because they are at that stage, right? They can help and talk. Conversations help, as you said. So, are there any signs that people can identify between each other?
What I feel that how peers can identify, and at times we can help our friends, colleagues, anyone out there by always checking on them first. At times we meet them, but we don't go deep down and check on them how they may be feeling. Yeah, asking them, acknowledging them whenever they are saying something about if they are feeling angry. Maybe there have been a lot of things happening at home. Maybe if the person is a wife, she may be going through a lot of trauma at home. You never know. If she's a working wife also, she may be suffering from the work chores and then coming back to office again, and then going back to work, and then at home if there is a child, and there can be a lot of struggles the person can be struggling with. So if you go down deep and talk to them, at times we don't give that space to connect and talk. So maybe if you talk, you will know the signs from the person. If they have been only talking negatively, maybe at times complaining only, there's nothing positive coming out, even if there is something positive in their life. So we have to think about it. If that person may be only just complaining, criticizing, feeling bad about, there's a lack of confidence also. So they, even if moving out, there's a lot of things has been happening about body image concern. They are feeling like, am I looking good? मैं अच्छी लग रही हूँ या नहीं, या मैं अच्छा लग रहा हूँ नहीं, should I meet that? And at times people don't even meet because they feel like there is a kind of inferiority complex going inside the head, and that may be because they have been to that situation since a long.
So, do you think social media plays a role when it comes to body image? Because I think all of us might have been in a situation where you feel like, okay, body image is something you should consider. So, do you think social media has a role?
Obviously, I feel like there have been a cycle of things going over social media every other time that perfect होना चाहिए सब कुछ. Pictures आप upload कर रहे हो, you have been checking on, taking validation from people. Should I upload? Am I looking good? If I'm not looking good, let's try filters to make it look perfect. So what I can say, the thing about perfectionism has been there, which has been affecting us. पहले ऐसा नहीं होता था. अब सोशल मीडिया ने इतना कुछ दिखा दिया है कि योर बॉडी शुड बी फिट, आप सुंदर ही लगने चाहिए हो. ब्यूटीफुल इज समथिंग दैट हैज now if girl or boy will be putting something, they must be thinking one day तो उसी चीज में जाता है, अपलोड करे नहीं करे.
That is very true.
So I hope you may be also feeling the
उसके
same at
बाद
times.
उसके बाद हटाने का ही मन करता है.
हाँ, because of this perfectionism, there are a lot of confidence issues. Do you think, like, I feel like everyone who may not be able to put forward their true self has been suffering. If you are hiding something, there is something that you don't want people to see through, and that is something I feel like that's the biggest red flag. If you are hiding something and you're keeping a filter every other time, कितने टाइम तक आप रखोगे?
नहीं, definitely वो नहीं छुपा सकते.
And sometimes people give those filters even with someone like who they are trying to get involved with, right? They have infatuations with. Then that there is a problem, right? That's a very big problem.
So in relationships also, if I talk about, in dating also, so people are on, if I talk about dating apps, they have been scrolling and they have been looking for the perfect figure, and they have been showing their perfect image वो जो है भी नहीं. So looking at that, it's like you all may have seen Netflix. इतने सारे episodes होते हैं या series हैं, इतने सारे होते हैं कि हम कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं.
Exactly.
कौन सा देखे, and I also have felt that I end up watching nothing.
Or maybe something I've already watched.
Actually,
Having too many options is
True.
also a problem.
That's what I'm talking
But
about.
then again,
dating.
don't say that when we have spoiled for choices written here. Okay.
So
True
that's
that.
what
ये
it
आप
is.
cut कर देना. Spoiled for choices.
Yeah.
But coming back to watching something that I've already watched a million times, I think, is that like a cushion?
True. Like
It is.
It's a kind of what I can say, comfort place. कि ये ही बेस्ट है मेरे लिए, कहाँ जाऊं मैं.
Last time ये देख के मैं खुश हुआ था.
हाँ. So I guess it's a natural thing for all of us. Human being connect to those people with whom they feel comfort with. They feel like maybe Riya can hear me out.
Correct.
Completely, truly, and I can say anything to her. Maybe I can't say something to, let's say, my mother-in-law or my father-in-law, my parent only. At times, children are suffering. The child who has been reached to a state of adolescence, let's say, they are struggling. They can't be true to themselves. They have been hiding a lot of things, and because of that, उनकी personality ऐसी mold हो जाती है.
Okay, before we go on to another one of those questions, I have one. It's an unorthodox question. What's the most ridiculous thing that you have heard about mental well-being?
Ridiculous thing? What it mean for you?
About mental well-being, or a person who's asking you about, for example, I come to you and ask, I've been suffering from depression for a long time now, but I want it to be fixed. By tomorrow.
So, like, most ridiculous question, as if you just said one thing, that one of a client came to me and she said that, ma'am, I wanted to be into therapy, but my husband doesn't. He is like कि इससे अच्छा मैं therapy में पैसे लगा रहा हूँ, इससे अच्छा मैं divorce में ही पैसे लगा दूँ.
So was this a couples counseling session?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was. And she was really willing to work on a relationship, but the other partner wasn't. So look at the dynamic, how obviously ridiculous it was for me.
Of
Sorry
course,
to
it is
say,
ridiculous.
but
It's of
it's
course
all
it is.
about if you are a partner and you wanted to, work on your relationship. I can understand if other partner don't want to, but maybe if he comes to have an awareness, then come forward. But saying something like that, it's worth to put money on, into legal
Divorce,
stuff and
yeah.
divorce rather than working. So I feel like it's something that we should take care from now onwards. How our mindset has been changing.
I think in that situation, the other partner was itself not willing to
I
even
mean, he
work
was
on that relationship.
going away from that,
So
right?
he was trying to push the other person away. So
Actually, he was always also, asking the other partner to change.
I mean, there's a norm that relationship counseling does not work. That I have heard. I mean, not all of you might have, or not you, but
Mhm.
these people might have heard, right? But that relationship counseling does not work. But is that true, or that's a very big facade that people have?
No, it's not
Created.
like that. Maybe people have created that, or maybe they haven't got such, good awareness about that. It's all about awareness, I feel. Or if they haven't even into being, into therapy or something like that. उनको पता कैसे चलेगा? At times we create assumptions here. But if you go to a, psychologist, counselor who is there to help you, guide you, improve you, work on something for betterment, why not? So I feel if both of the partner are really willing to work, because ताली एक हाथ से नहीं बजती है. Yeah. So it's something like you're dancing together. You're working on the relationship fruitfully, into each other, and then things change.
I think both the partners should be willing to go there and should have the same mindset that okay, we want to make things work.
True.
If one person is willing but the other person is just fading away, I think that is doomed to fail even after.
So, as a way, we were talking about relationship concerns. We all human, what we want from maybe our partners, maybe our peers, our friends, is something to, acknowledge us, to make us feel heard. At times, if I'm going through sadness, guilt, maybe anger, I just want other person to hear me out. But what we are doing is just going to them and reacting abruptly, and that creates a gap. And that is something we need to fulfill by working on acknowledging first. Maybe today Ria is feeling a bit sad, so rather than going to her and if she's crying and saying why you are crying, how she'll feel. So maybe if I go and ask like Ria, are you feeling any, a kind of overwhelmed? Do you feel like sharing? Maybe right now she doesn't feel like sharing, maybe. But my words, whatever I said, it will calm her down. It will make her feel more eased. Yeah. So maybe she'll come back to me after 1 hour, 2 hour, or maybe after some time, whenever she feel like sharing. But she'll feel like someone is coming to me and asking about it at least.
Correct.
So think about, it's such a small thing we can do, but it has a tremendous effect. So it's something acknowledging really works, how we can work on any relationship, be it parent child, be it partners, anyone.
I think acknowledging is an art. I mean,
I know.
that totally depends upon your tone, how you ask it, the words you use to frame your lines. That is totally an art which,
I don't think many people have.
yeah.
And because many people don't have it, then people like us tend to have coping mechanisms as to eating, then ordering something sweet, then binging on it. So,
True.
what other coping mechanisms are there for people? Like they find their comfort?
True. They find their comfort in sleeping at times.
Yeah.
They find their comfort in, over generalizing things that, okay, ये भी होगा, अब ये भी हो सकता है, okay, why I went there, my presentation will be wrong and then he'll fire me. Everything आपने पहले से ही सोच लिया. Yeah. So at times there are a lot of mechanisms that we have been using, and distractions, you can say, binge watching something, throughout the night, and then deteriorating your sleep cycle. It has, a bad effect on your mental health, your physical health.
Yeah.
You saying maybe you are doing something, maybe you are working on your routine, but you are not. So there are many, how you may be coping it may be different from how I may be. So it's very, very journalized.
Have you ever encountered an unusual coping mechanism?
Yeah, there was like one person, always used to do gardening. Yeah. And at times talking to plants. Yeah. But it healed him.
It did.
It did. So I'm not saying coping mechanism doesn't help. At times it helps.
It
At,
does.
at times sleeping also helps.
Is it about finding your own coping mechanism that will help you to get out of this phase? Is it about that?
Yeah, like it was about that. For that person, it was about that. So using right mechanism is the thing, like healthy mechanisms. Yeah. So if you're sleeping, I understand at that time there are some people who feel like, let me sleep and I'll forget everything. But okay, if you want to sleep, let's sleep. But come back again, solve that situation, what was going in your head. Otherwise, you will keep taking it every time, and then it will be a pile of all these negative thinking, and maybe it will burst out someday. It will happen if you'll just suppress it. So using healthy coping mechanism is the best thing what you can do. It differs. Maybe for me, I love listening to music, and if music heals me, and then I can come back, getting into a relaxed state and think over, okay, this happened. Let me just mindfully redirect my thoughts and think that moment, that situation in a different perspective. Then maybe it can work. So if I talk about this stress, ये stress actually क्या है? Yeah, stress is just an event. And if I talk about this event, we give the meaning to all the events. Yeah, it can be a bad event or a good event. फॉर इंस्टेंस मे बी मेरे बॉस ने आज मुझे कुछ कह दिया सबके सामने. हाउ आई टुक दिस इवेंट, maybe if it was my bad only, I did something wrong. If boss had said something to me and I took it in a bad tone, I'll have a bad action towards it. I took that whole situation as a bad event. So we are giving that event a color, a meaning. So at times, if boss said something to me and I took in a good tone as a good event and improvise myself for the next time, think about it, how better person you can become, because we are not perfect.
Yeah.
So it's all about how we take that event, how we give the meaning to the event. We choose it. So it's not about the situation, it's all about us.
So basically, we are giving it the
We are
power.
giving it the power.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, to take it all over.
True.
So I've come across a lot of people who think that if they are facing a problem which is causing some sort of anxiety or depression or any other, burnout, they think avoidance is the cure. So do you think that negatively impacts their sense of mental health, mental well-being?
True, it is affecting a lot, and it can be also a sign of a past trauma that they have been doing this since a long. They have been conditioned to work on this way only. Avoid कर देते हैं चलो. Let's avoid this. Things will happen good. ठीक हो जाएगा. But at times it never heals. But the conditioning that we have been doing about avoiding that situation will be always be there, and you will not able to
Is
heal.
it that they get comfortable with this lingering feeling, or like how is it?
So like if you have been avoiding to express your desires, your feelings, your emotion since childhood, it has been conditioned in you, it has been wired, and your personality has been made up then. Yes, you can modify it, change it, but it's a cycle how you do that. So you must have listened about if we work on some skill, some behavior for 21 days, it has a power to change you. Yeah. So maybe if I am working on some skill, working on my calmness for 21 days, I can be that person, working on that skill. So आप तो वो चीज, you have been avoiding to express your feelings since childhood. सोचो कितना बड़ा, you have become that rigid personality from the childhood.
But then again, this 21 days thing I've heard, is that actually a fact? I mean, I have heard it at times, and I mean, it's hard to believe that formed habit might be changed in just 21 days.
Satvik, it's just like a discipline that you create. Yeah. When you are working towards one thing consistently, Yeah. Can you give me an example that आप खुद कोई चीज रोज कर रहे हो, ऐसी कोई एक चीज है जो आप रोज कर रहे हो? Can you think of?
I've been gaming a lot since last 2-3 years, but then I have left it.
Mm-hmm.
I completely left it because of work, because of stress. And while talking about what we are talking about today, I felt I'm going through some kind of mental problem because I have left that.
The withdrawals are
I
coming.
really enjoyed that doing that, and because of work, because of stress, I have not been able to do that. Plus, I mean, some part of me does not want to.
I understand.
That might be something that might be troubling me as well, right?
True. As a way you just mentioned about that you were doing that gaming thing since long, but then you, because of work, and now you have, given a gap. There may be some withdrawal symptoms coming because it becomes an addiction for us to be there, to do that. Gaming is something a different thing. If we talk about any skill that we have been practicing like expressing ourselves, acknowledging others, being grateful for the world, and a lot of things, different. Having a discipline for workout, gymming,
Yeah.
it has a power. You will see your body changed as a person, and you will feel the change from inside. And आपको लगता है, let's do it more. But you have to practice this consistently. So if I'm waking up daily, I really want my warm water with me. It's a practice, it's consistency, and I love to have that. And if I don't have that, I feel there's a lag.
No, but then you also have to keep doing it after 21 days
I know.
to make that conscious effort. Because अगर वो आपके सिस्टम में नहीं बैठा है अभी, तो you still have to get it settled.
True. So it's what I can say, it's a every kind of 21 days plan, if you're planning, it's a effort that we consciously put. So discipline is something, a effort that it comes from inside. बाहर वाले बोलेंगे करो, you have to, it must get from inside, that insight that I want to do. So if a person comes into therapy and that person has been pressurized to go to therapy, सोचो, will it affect him? वो खुद से ही अपने आप को बदलना नहीं चाहता, maybe improve नहीं करना चाहता, and the parents have been saying let's go to therapy, you have to go, something will change. He'll be sitting here, I'll be counseling him, but he won't be taking it. So the insight from here must be there to change whatever you feel like changing within yourself.
What is that one question that you wish every client who's sitting right in front of you would ask, but they never do?
Okay, so I've been thinking about this कि ऐसा कोई तो पूछे कि खुद से आप आ रहे हो थेरेपी पे, आपको कुछ ना कुछ तो अपने ऊपर काम करना है, be it career, relationship, you have been feeling low about yourself, lacking confidence or कुछ भी. I feel the one thing that people never ask, or I wish they should ask, that how I can be more kinder to myself. Because we are not. And this thing, if we become, it will, give the power to not, the person itself, but how he will be throwing his vibes everywhere. Just look at, if I am a positive person, if something happened, maybe if you have to change something, let's say if we are here right now, if something happens, let's say light chali gayi, or let's say कि अभी we are shooting and end में पता चला camera ही नहीं चला. Just imagine how I am taking it. It has a power. Yeah, I may go crazy, I may go, it's fine. It's about the vibes I'm throwing all away, and this is how you'll feel, this is how we will feel towards how the other team, everyone will feel. So it has a power.
It does, actually, it does. It creates a vibe around you.
Yeah.
And I think your aura really resonates with other people.
I feel that people do scrutinize themselves internally more than how others do, right? I myself might be my biggest critic, but my worst critic as well at the same time. So that's a problem in the current scenario, right?
Because as you say that, we have been underestimating our own selves. We don't want anyone else to say something wrong to us. But when I may be sitting and introspecting, I am saying all the wrong things, negative things here. सोचो कितनी पावर है आपको खुद को अपने आप को नेगेटिव बनाने की. So if you can work on being kinder to yourself, sit with yourself rather than thinking all the negative things, come back and think about positive things भी हुई हैं, but हम acknowledge नहीं करते, हम भूल जाते हैं.
Right.
So that is something we should take care of. If 1% of this kindness can reach to people, environment will drastically change.
Yeah, like this is one really good habit, sitting with yourself, introspecting.
True.
What all are other small changes that people like us, professionals like us, can inculcate?
So, as a way, I just said about introspecting, sitting with yourself, maybe just meditating at times, because we need break, our mind need break. At times, journaling. Maybe if someone has tried journaling, it really helps. Sitting with yourself, certain times just writing your thoughts, how you may feel about it. Writing really helps you express your emotion. If you don't feel like writing, just expressive emotions, through music, whatever you feel like. There are different, ways. One of the most, beautiful thing is something that you can do is gratitude. Yeah. So paying gratitude to everything when you wake up in the morning, just have this practice for yourself that wherever you are today in this universe, just say thank you. So rather than switching onto the phone and go scrolling through, there's a scrolling syndrome going there in the morning.
Exactly.
Hum uth rahe hain, and then people are just scrolling. It has been, a tremendous effect on our mental health. So all the waves of our brain literally change when you scroll in the morning. But when you work on paying gratitude, you thank the world, you thank the universe. So, what I do is I thank my family, I thank my body being with me every other day. I thank the people I work with, my loved ones, that they always appreciate me for whatever I'm doing. And then just saying thank you and then conquering the whole day.
There's this one question, I wanted to ask since a very long time. Like, the people who are content in their life, are they easy to diagnose and easy to help out? Or the people who are more ambitious, are they difficult patients? So, is there a correlation between these two things when it comes to
So, more content in the sense, what do
more
you mean?
content, as in they're happy with whatever they have, whatever is going on in their life, but there is some lingering issue that is troubling them. Whereas there is another patient who is very ambitious and they have a lot going on in their life. So, which one is more easier to deal with?
I feel like the person who are more content with themselves, they are already feeling that जो भी flow में चल रहा है वो चलने दो. When they are maybe coming for therapy, if there's something hindering, they will be able to work it on easily. But those people who are having a lot of ambitions in their heads, they really crave for perfectionism more. चलो ये भी करते ये भी करते. They have that active ness in their heads and they want to do everything together. नहीं कर सकते हो आप सब चीज एक साथ. So even if they go for therapy, they want कि ये भी जल्दी हो जाए, ये perfect से हो जाए.
One day therapy.
They need
coming
time.
back to your one day therapy.
That one day therapy. So that's a myth, and I feel like there are different people. I'm not saying ambitious people who, maybe there are rarest of ambitious people who take time, but I feel like as a way I've been with a lot of clients, I felt that they have that rigid mindsets जो हिलाना मुश्किल होता है. They have been coming with the insight to help themselves, but वो rigid mindset से आ जाओगे आप तो कैसे आप खुद की मदद करोगे, या कैसे आप if you want to work in a relationship, let's say, so अगर आप वो rigid mindset नहीं, मैंने तो गलती नहीं की है, उसकी गलती है, वाइफ ने ही किया है कुछ, वो ही बहुत बोलती है, वो सुनती नहीं है या वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं करती है. It can be anything. So I feel like it's all about the rigid mindset.
So, ambition does have a relationship with being, what do we call it, mentally headstrong, or is it just a myth?
It's very journalized thing that there are some ambitious people who are open to hear out, yeah, who are open to take consideration, to hear what maybe a therapist is saying, maybe if other people are telling them, and then they work on their own ways. But there are some ambitious people who are having, such a strong rigid mindset. They won't hear you out at all. So I've seen some people who are emotionally so intelligent, but then they just keeps a lot of boundary. If you're keeping a lot of boundary, how you will end up giving out to people or hearing out to people, or maybe giving the space to help yourself. If maybe let's say you are an ambitious person, or you have very strict boundary, you don't entertain anyone coming into your boundary. So maybe if I, being a psychologist, come to you and help you, it will take time. I'm not saying that you won't be taking it at all, you won't be addressing your concern. I'll have a lot of things, strategies to work, or taking, making you open. But yes, it will take some time to make you open up and work on your boundaries. I'm not saying the boundaries that you have intacted are bad. They may be good, maybe because of past experiences you have felt, that's why you have kept those boundaries. But it will take time to work on such kind of.
So is it like the longer your feelings are suppressed, the difficult it is to,
Exactly.
I mean, get over it when you go into therapy? Is it like that?
True. So the longer you have been suppressing your desires, your feeling, your emotions, कहते हैं ना, आप एक पुतला टाइप बन जाते हो, एक puppet. आप बैठे तो हो, but then there is no expression. At times, it's called as emotional numbness. That you may not be expressing your feelings, emotion, and this happens with more men, because society has been playing a huge role, telling the men that you can't cry, you can't express your feelings, you have to be very a strong person. मतलब अपने आप को strong attitude में दिखाना है, personality strong होनी चाहिए. उसके वजह से men's want to. There are men who express. There are men who want to address their emotions. But there are many. If I talk about 80% of men in our society, they don't, because of all the societal things.
Conditioned. They're conditioned that way. Yeah.
So, I mean, in general, we can blame society as well for that, for creating such stereotypes and
making therapy as a taboo.
I know.
In the current societal norms, and that's the main concern where we talk about mental well-being being something where people can't, open up to others, right? You can't talk to your peers, you can't talk to your parents as well. So there is a need for a safe space to maybe talk about these things, right? And mental well-being and therapy plays a vital role, right?
Exactly.
So this is the current notion of mental well-being in the society.
Mm-hmm.
But you as a therapist, as a professional, do you see that there is a change? People are getting step by step coming forward.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people who work with me in a professional state, and they aren't very educated.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen him taking his daughter for therapy because her 10th board or 12th board were approaching, and he figured that it was a little too much for the little girl.
Understood. Yeah. So there's a change.
There's
a change of people accepting, people taking it. At times, I also, work with parents. So when at times I say, there are parents who accept that, ठीक है, मेरे बच्चे के साथ ये है, and I'll work on that. I'll give a time. I'll, make her go to counseling sessions. But there are parents who say कि उनको खुद embarrassed feel होता है making their children go to therapy. And when the child asks, Mama, everyone is asking where I am going, the parent has no question, because उन्होंने वो conditioning दी है ना कि therapy is something only weak people go.
You cannot tell each other.
बताना मत किसी को. So at that time, I have to aware them. So we all have the power inside this, environment to aware people. If maybe one person can try to do that, it will change.
Yeah.
So it is already changing, but
still
also
the progress is there, right?
थोड़ा stigma अभी भी है about mental health. And if we take that stand to, working on being kinder, helping each other, and saying therapy is a beautiful thing that can improve you, that can help you connect with your inner self in a more beautiful way, and you can come up with a lot of things that maybe आप खुद भूल गए थे.
Okay, as we were talking about myths before this, and also we might have already broken some today. The relationship counseling does not work. That was a myth which was broken for me today. So, are there any more myths that you might be able to break it for us?
It's like therapy is only for weak people. It's not like that. Therapy is for anyone who may be struggling the least, who may be struggling the most also. At times, the least can also be, becoming more. It too will end up too. So क्या होता है कि it's very lame if I say कि जब हमें सर दर्द होता है, हम कहते हैं ना सर दर्द बढ़ जाएगा तभी पेन किलर लूंगा. बट जब सर दर्द इतना बढ़ जाएगा तब पेन किलर कितना इफेक्ट करेगा आप सोचो. इट विल, बट टाइम लगेगा उसको हील होने में. तभी जब आपका सर दर्द हो तभी मेडिसिन लेनी चाहिए, तभी टेक हेल्प, गो. इफ मे बी इट्स नॉट दैट मच, take help from a friend, express your feeling. If there is something going more, then maybe go to a professional and seek help, seek therapy.
Do you think there is a problem with people who are over ambitious and consider themselves as perfectionists? Do you think that can be taken on as a very negative aspect of that person?
So you said ambitious
and perfectionist.
Yeah. So that's why I just talked about that it's not like ambitious people will always crave for perfectionism.
Yeah,
it's not like that. We have worked on assuming this altogether. ऐसा हमेशा नहीं होता. So there are people who I also work with, who maybe a lot of coaches out there, a lot of psychologists out there also, a lot of my loved one also, family members also, who are ambitious, but then they are not someone who only crave for perfectionism. So what I feel, it's very it's 50-50 wala thing.
Yeah. And do you think you ever overcome that need of perfecting everything? Does one ever?
Yes, truly. If maybe they have an open space to accept their flaws, because we are not. If we have a flaw, just think about, if I try to accept it, how much I'll put an effort to improve it. But if I don't even accept it, how the improvement will happen? So accepting the flaws and then working on it, that's the beautiful thing that you can do, rather than saying I'm perfect or I have to do everything perfect. There's nothing perfect. It's a myth. It's something, maybe whenever I am going anywhere, rather than at times हम किसी presentation में जाते हैं या maybe कहीं भी जाते हैं, meetings में जाते हैं, we have a thought here inside that अच्छा होगा नहीं होगा, कर पाऊंगी नहीं कर पाऊंगा. We talk negative to our own heads. So there's a confusion coming in. If we just say to ourselves at that time that okay, I've already prepared myself, I want to do the best what I can, I'll receive the best I can today, I'll just give the best value to the people out there and receive the best. And if you go with that thought, the environment, the vibes, the people, whatever is there at that moment, everything will change.
Do you think there's a mental health parallel to muscle memory where we repeat past emotional patterns?
Like, for example, there's a friend of mine who gets into these small relationships, right, to maybe make himself feel good. And he does that again and again, and he just, that's a cycle that he wants to repeat, but it's not good for him. That's what I feel. So is there something like that?
Yes, truly. So it comes from past trauma also, unresolved trauma. If I talk about that, why this has been happening, because people have been taking that validation from every people out there. Okay, ye acha hoga, ye acha hoga. Isse baat kar lete hain. Let's just try to talk with this. He will give me validation. He'll make me feel good, or I'll feel confident then. So for our own selves, we crave to meet a number of people. But when we meet a number of people, what you're doing is you're whenever I'm meeting with any people, my aura gets opened. Yeah, and I'm taking a lot of things from different people, and मेरी personality खुद बदलती रहती है. In that note, आप इतने लोगों से, maybe if you're having a lot of affairs, lot of mingling with people out there, at one time you will feel stuck. What I'm doing? You're just mingling with a lot of people just for the sake of making yourself happy for the present moment, but at the end you have no one.
At the end, you have that slam book with unnecessary data.
And then it may not be making happy you at all. You may be then saying to yourself, what I have done to myself. And I have, been with a lot of clients who have been struggling with this. Ma'am, I have been with a lot of people, a lot of affairs, and they have been doing it just in a week, in a one day also. So think about it, how traumatic it will be and how much of things they are taking up. And it has a very negative effect and negative energy change in you when at times, if I talk about casual sex also, that has been happening, that people have been doing, but you never know that when you are having these things, you are attracting a lot of auras from different people. And when you are attracting a lot of auras, your aura get depleted. Yeah, you will feel from inside, now you are feeling a void.
That he's chasing that comfort, right? That he
True.
had a while back. That might be true.
So maybe rather than doing all the things that the person has been doing, what you can do is first connect with yourself. Work on here. Once you start doing that, things will change.
So how can we retrain such patterns? Like, I mean, so that we can get over this thing altogether.
So the one way is first to connect with your own self. At times people feel like, okay, I'll restrain to only one or two people. That will, help me solving that issue. But no, it won't. You have to first connect within yourself, work within yourself, what is lagging. Because there are a lot of parts of yourself you have already, keeping a lot of gap with them. And now you have to recollect all the energy that you were, what kind of person you were before. You will feel that there's a huge disconnect. Maybe you were a person who was so disciplined, who was so, over the top, have ambitious goals. Now you have not been doing that since long. But ये तभी हो पाएगा जब आप अपने आप के साथ बैठोगे. In this time, today's world, the current scenario I'm talking about, it's all about Gen Z and इतना सब कुछ जो है. People are not sitting with themselves at all. When we are traveling also, metro में भी travel कर रहे हो, phone है, गाने सुन रहे हैं, maybe any kind of Netflix episodes are going. Even on washrooms, we are not alone. We have phones. ये हर जगह है. Think about it, how the world will change after this 2024, 2025. You can see the change. So it's our choice where we want to take our, heads where. So it's something starts from you. If you feel like you have been ending up doing that, and that is something, a withdrawal syndrome that will come again, that you crave for that energy, meeting new people again. I want to be with other person also. Maybe me as a woman also want to meet many men's, or maybe a man wants to meet many women's. What you can do is first, channelize your own, characteristics, what you want in that person. कभी कभी हमें खुद नहीं पता होता हम क्या चाहते हैं. So at times taking therapy also helps for that sort, so that you can work on, improving, working on your aura and visualizing what is lacking. So having that open discussion with yourself, it will help.
And how do you approach someone who is resistant to taking therapy? Like, it is the answer to couple of things that you're going through. It helps. Sometimes talking to a friend is also not that helpful, because you need couple of technical skills to add in your daily routine. So how do you approach someone where you have to push them to actually go for therapy?
So I feel like pressurizing, forcing, obviously won't help.
Work. Yeah.
If today I pressurize, don't cry, why you're crying? You'll feel like this person is the villain of my life. Yes. You won't be interacting with me at all. So if I feel like Riya needs to go to therapy, just for instance, and she needs that, but she's, not willing to. And if I come again and asking her again and again, Ria, you really need help. Please, go. But then she is, completely avoiding it. Then what I can just do is aware the person how it can help and give that person the choice to choose. The decision will be hers, not mine. Yeah. So at times it has already helped. A lot of my clients who were not feeling like going to therapy, their parents were asking me how I should, ask them. The partners were asking how I should call the other person. So I just said, aware them, give them time, speak to them. Awareness is the key. Tell them how it will help. And it's something that you won't be feeling bad about. No one will judge you. बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस पहले उनके ही दिमाग में होते हैं. You have to break those kind of limiting beliefs.
I personally think that a lot of people have this mindset that, let's suppose he's my friend. If I'm sort of giving him an intervention, okay, you need to seek help. So I have this fear in my mind that this might, impact my relationship with him.
Yep.
Because he might think that, okay, something is wrong with me mentally.
Change our dynamic.
And why does he want to change something which is totally fine with me, but he's asking me to
why can't he accept me?
reevaluate
But
things.
that's not acceptance, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'll think, why can't he accept me? But that's not acceptance. That's something wrong with me, which I should have. I should accept that it's wrong.
So how do we deal with such people? Like, how do we intervene this to them?
The therapy to them, you're asking. So that's what I'm saying. You can't be telling the person, do this, do that. You just have, it's something like, it's very lame. मैं आपको बहुत easy तरीके से समझाती हूँ. If today I'm just going to you and instructing you that Shiva, do this. If you won't do this, you will be regretting for life. Or if I come to you and say in a very, in an asking mode that Shiva, can you do this? The choice then I'm giving up to you. The decision is yours. You will choose it on your, wants, desires. Maybe today आप नहीं choose करते, but the way I asked you, you will choose maybe the other day. You will think about it, the way I just said. So how we talk to people, it really matters. Are you talking to in an instruction mode where you want person to just take decision on your behalf, or you are going there and asking them? Because people feel powerless when we instruct them. If I only instruct my family every other time, they'll feel like I will not listen to this. No one likes instruction. If your boss keeps on instructing, you feel like I will end up, I don't want to be here. It's very, it is there. So, ये बहुत छोटी चीज है, but it's all about how you communicate. It's biggest, beautiful way to communicate with people, with your child, with your partner, with anyone out there. You will see the change when how you say. So if you say in asking mode, the person will be more apprehensive, more, working on negotiating, taking you more, listening you more. It's like how you are taking care of these two, not just this.
That makes sense. Do you know any, the most ridiculous piece of self-care that we say? And, they keep on doing that to themselves. This is my self-care, but it's actually harming them. Do you think you ever come across something like that?
A self-care that may be harming them.
Yeah.
At times they say that, just shopping or pampering themselves with,
therapy.
going to salons.
So seeking comfort is what, negative way to deal with.
Doing anything
Just temporary
on
thing.
the name of self-love, doing n number of things for the name of self-love.
Coming to self-love. These days we are hearing a lot about self-love. Like if you're going through something, or if something is like keeping you on the edge, try self-love. So what is self-love?
So self-love or self-care, if I talk about, it is something more deeper. It's not कि अपने आप को बस प्यार करते रहो, किसी की सुनो मत, not like that. It's something that self-care or self-love, it comes from within. Whatever the chores that you feel like that makes you happy, you're doing them consistently. Maybe it's workout, maybe it's, listening to music, maybe it can be dance, maybe that you love to be with your people, your, family, but you are not able to get time. So self-care is taking out time to doing that also consistently. Because at time, हम इतना काम में busy हो जाते हैं, we forget. Maybe today also, maybe I'm at home, I'm sitting there, but I'm not enjoying the talks that has been happening within my family. My mama is saying something, my siblings are saying something, but I'm not there, I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
Think how drastic effect it has created. And it's something that what self-care or self-love, what I feel is, number one thing is saying no to people. So it's very biggest thing. Self-care is not just going to walks or taking care, just doing everything outside. Everything is not materialistic, it comes from within. When you take care of, also saying no at times when we just randomly say yes for the things we don't want to, we end up pressurizing ourselves that nahi karna, but mana kaise karu. And then when we don't say no, we end up taking a lot of pressures, and then we end up maybe at times not doing that the thing that we said yes to. We regret why we did, why we said, and then it deteriorates the relationship. Like, आपने तो बोला था ना, maybe you will make up for this party, you will come to meet me, you said yes, but नहीं हो पाया. You over pressure आपने बोल दिया, but वो नहीं हो पाया. So at times if नहीं हो पा रहा है, say no. You can say no in a positive way also. Maybe I'm so sorry, I can't do this right now, maybe some other day, maybe I can help you after 2 hours. But rather than taking and saying okay नहीं कर दूंगा मैं, taking a pressure, maybe quality work वो होगा ही नहीं. चाहे वो आप वर्क में करो, चाहे वो घर पे एक छोटा सा ही काम हो, it can be anything. चाहे वो meeting your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, anyone. If you are not able to get that time, say no and give that fulfillment of time and with full attention. After some time, you'll feel more, that you're helping yourself. It's a self-care. Because otherwise you will deteriorate your mindset. ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है. And then at times, one more thing I wanted to share is expecting more. कि हम दूसरों से ही expect कितना कर लेते हैं, which reduces our intensity to feel good. We want other person to do this for me, उसको करना चाहिए. या फैमिली से इतनी एक्सपेक्टेशन कर रहे हैं कि मैं वर्क में हूँ तो वो ये तो कर ही सकते हैं ना. At times we don't share also the things and we expect them to do on their own. उनको क्या पता चलेगा आप क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो, आप बोल दो. So expectation, but setting realistic expectation is the key to work on the self-care.
I think one of the coping mechanisms that I personally have is retail therapy, because Prada never broke my heart. So, but I am aware of how it's not really doing well to my pocket or to my mental well-being. But that it isn't something, that I'm able to overcome. Because the thrill that you get उस time पे, अच्छा मैंने खरीद लिया, मैं खुश हूँ अभी, अगले 10 घंटे के लिए हम sorted हैं. पर उसके बाद you again circle back to the same problem कि अब क्या?
Because I understand that is something is making you feel eased and you're happy, you're having the adrenaline rush at that time, good hormones, सब कुछ आ रहा है, dopamine rush is there, but then you come back to normal when you go back to your bed. Okay, let's now come back to our overthinking thoughts. Sitting with them throughout the night, having a Prada bag therein with you, but you are still struggling.
So do you think dopamine is a reason to blame for all of this? Like, are we craving the dopamine rush a lot, which is hindering our sense of well-being?
True. It's something like, our generation has lost the patience thing. वो instant gratification चाहिए सब चीज के लिए. That's why, as a way at times we feel like अभी जाके shopping कर लेते हैं, I'll feel eased. अभी जाके, I'll talk to the person, I feel eased. But maybe the person on the long run is not good for you. Think about it. Yeah, temporary healing है वो आप जो कर रहे हो, वो permanent नहीं है. So it may be affecting you, and it is affecting you. So what our generation wants is instant. सब कुछ instant चाहिए. We are not working on what we call is delayed gratification. Calm down. It will come to you, but think, pause at time. Think about it. Will it be good for me for the long run or not? Take that stand for yourself to stop. Yeah, pausing is the biggest, formula that I can give you, a pause thing. That pause before you do anything and mindfully work on that thing. You'll able to have more good thoughts, more good actions. Otherwise, what are we thinking? We put everything on actions. Yeah. So we just react, we don't respond. It has a difference how we react, but how we respond mindfully. We just react at times very aggressively. We want to do that, to have a thrill, to that have a dopamine rush.
Yeah.
But then that dopamine rush वो तो चला ही जाएगा. कुछ देर के लिए वो rush आता है, you know,
Correct.
that shopping किया है, everything is so good and happening, you know, I have ate that, you know, cheesecake, वो अच्छा लग रहा है, वो happiness feeling आ रही है. I understand that happens. But then if in a way उसके बाद आप heal नहीं कर रहे हो अपने आप को, then
there is a problem. We need to address that.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, technology is a huge part of our lives, whether it's social media or it's our laptops. It's generally everywhere. The mic that we are wearing as well.
Exactly.
So, what do you think? What role does technology play in your sector, mental health and awareness?
I feel like technology has a tremendous effect because we can reach up to people sitting here only. I can reach across different cities, even across the, you know, worldwide.
Correct.
So technologies has given us, you know, we psychologists, a space where we can help people through a different, you know, a lot of mental health platforms. As you know, we were also talking before the shoot that how you guys have built up something, you know, and because of platforms like Flee, that has been helping people to connect and resolve their mental health concerns. That's the biggest thing, and I feel like it's a blessing for people to connect on such platforms so that people can, you know, have this thing to connect and help themselves. So yeah.
I mean, the initial thought behind bringing Flea into the picture in the current scenario was to maybe make a platform where instant interactions can, the accessibility can be improved for professionals to maybe give out professional services. And the major key aspect was therapy as well. We started with the name Social Ease, and the main concern was to maybe give a safe space to people to maybe talk about mental health, mental well-being, which now we have transformed into a very wide vast application platform right now. So yeah, that's what we were trying to establish when we started initially, right, Shiva?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now this has become a very broad-based platform where not just therapy, but even fitness, fashion and lifestyle, even what do we call travel?
Yep, travel, cooking,
I mean, all
musicians.
sorts of these skill sets which people lack or like they are willing to learn. Those are available on the platform.
And
But
not just lack. What I feel is there is a certain skill set that people might have, might not be earning from that, right? I might be a good musician, but I'm still working in the IT sector, right? Might be I can get on the platform, maybe earn a few bucks, showcase my skills, or maybe this can become my primary source of income, right? So that's what we are trying to promote with Flea as a platform, where those secondary skill set might be transformed into their primary, or maybe they can in any way try to monetize them, right?
Obviously, like the platform that you have created, Flee, is something that how any individual who is struggling with their mental health concern, be it career concern, be it relationship, be it, you know, anything that they want to resolve from inside, but there's no help. So it's a beautiful platform where people can connect. There is an instant connection where I feel very wonderful to appreciate you on the note that, you know, it's very rare where we can connect and express our emotions. So kudos to you how, you know, it has been made, and
thank you.
people must be willing to connect more once they know that there are a lot of platforms who
Thank
work
you.
for mental health well-being.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you so much for tuning in for this podcast and this free flowing conversation. We'd just like to inform that We were thrilled with this conversation. Many myths were busted, and we were exactly talking about how technology has made a huge difference. And Flea has made us spoiled for our choices and made everything accessible just at our fingertips. So thank you so much, Shiva and Satvik, and
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, ma'am,
Most
Thank
for
you.
this. Please take care and remember, support is always available.
Thank you.
Thank you.